Welcome. So to begin, I want to describe a little bit the breath and breathing. I spoke briefly in the last video about the importance of nasal breathing, and the majority of yogic breath practices happen upon inhale and exhale through the nose. There's one breath practice that we breathe through the mouth, Shitali Pranayam, that I'm aware of. And there are a few breath practices where we exhale through the mouth, but 99% of the breath work happens through the nose. So if you're congested, something to do before you even start might be to use a face steam, to clear the nose and to really, try to blow the nose, try to make space in the nasal cavity, work and massage on your sinuses. And if you're really congested, then obviously the only thing you can do for a couple of days is breathe through the mouth. But we really want to avoid mouth breathing wherever possible. At the beginning, sometimes if you've been mouth breathing for quite a while, the nose can feel really clogged up, and you can get nasal plugs, and doctors can prescribe these, and you can place them inside the nasal cavity, and they can help you to open the nasal cavity so that breath can move in and out more easily. You can also use a finger here to the side of the nose, and you can gently pull the face away from the center of the nose. And you will feel that you've made space inside the nasal cavity. And if you breathe in and out, you'll find that there is now more air moving through this side than the other. And again, you can do it on the other side. So there are ways of manipulating the face. You can also grab the nostril and lightly pull. And you will find that you increase the size of the nasal cavity and you're able to breathe more thoroughly and easily through it. And this is really, really useful tips and tricks if you find it difficult to breathe through your nose. Okay, the next thing to talk about are the 4 parts of the breath. 4 parts, really there's only 2, inhale and exhale. But no, like with all things in yoga, they are nuanced and specific. So we have our inhale, and then we have what we call the kumbhakas, or breath retentions, which is the English translation, at the top and the bottom of the breath. So you inhale fully, and at the top of the breath, you have your first kumbhaka, your first breath retention, where your lungs are full, you've finished breathing in, you haven't yet begun breathing out, and you're just holding the breath in, or the breath is sitting inside. Then you have exhalation, where you breathe all the way out, and then at the end of the exhalation, you have another breath retention after exhale and before you inhale. There's this pause, this kumbhaka. So these are the 4 parts of the breath. When we first start our yogic breathing practice, the inhale and exhale will be the biggest portion and the kumbhakas will be smaller. But as you progress through your breathing practices, you work to make your retentions equal to or longer than your actual breaths. Lastly, we'll talk about bandhas. Bandhas are locks, and they are energetic and physical locks, and they're ways of holding and retaining the breath and the energy created by the breath inside the body. There are 3 main locks, and these videos we're going to be working, and we will touch on all 3 of them, but we will be working predominantly on 2. So we have Mula Bandha, which is your pelvic floor lock. Your pelvic floor is moving all the time, like your diaphragm. When you inhale, they move down. When you exhale, they move up. Equally, the soft palate in your mouth. If you're not sure what that is, put your tongue to the top of your mouth and you'll feel your hard palate. It's bone. Roll your tongue to the back of the hard palate as if you're going to the back of your mouth, and you'll find where the bone turns into skin, just flesh. That's your soft palate. It's a flap of skin. If you didn't have that flap of skin, you wouldn't be able to build up the pressure inside your mouth to say p or d or t. You won't be able to get that pressure for the plosive sound. So it's a very important part of the speaking and breathing apparatus. Why am I mentioning it? Because when you inhale through the nose, it moves down. And when you exhale through the nose, it moves up. The same thing is happening at the diaphragm. You inhale, the diaphragm pulls down. Exhale, the diaphragm goes up. Inhale, the pelvic floor goes down. Exhale, the pelvic floor goes up. Back to Mula Bandha, the pelvic floor lock. If you want to hold your Mula Bandha, then after exhaling, when you've lifted the pelvic floor, you keep it lifted, even when you inhale. And it pulls the energy into the center of the body. Then you have Jalandhar Bandha here in the throat. There's two ways of describing this. Some people say swallow and then hold it down. And it's that feeling of kind of swallowing and then holding the breath in. There's two things that are happening. There's a little bit of movement in the soft palate and the back of the mouth. And more than anything, the glottis, which is like a sphincter in the throat, is shutting. So you feel a closing inside the throat, and it can be accentuated by dropping the chin. If you were full of breath and you didn't want to breathe out, you would naturally hold this, and you'd feel the energy rising and lifting inside the body. The last one is Uddiyana Bandha, and this is the abdominal lock here in the solar plexus. And this one is used a little bit in Kapalbhati and in other breathing techniques where we're using the force of the diaphragm to press the air out, or in a breath retention after exhale when we suck the abdomen back towards the spine. I will talk you through that one more when we get to that practice exercise. So what we've gone over here, we've gone over the 4 parts of the breath, the importance of breathing through the nose, and the different bandhas, the pelvic floor lock, the throat or the throat chakra lock, and Uddiyana Bandha, the abdominal lock at the end.